card declined.
What? Again?
Oh no!
No one noticed when the boy quietly slid his tray back onto the metal rack. The lunchroom at Westfield High School in Texas was alive with noise chairs, screeching against the floor, students laughing too loudly, phones buzzing, the steady beeping of the cashier scanning meals. In the middle of all that sound, 3 words cut through Ethan Walker like a blade: insufficient balance. The cashier didn't mean to embarrass him. She was tired, doing her job, repeating the same phrase she'd said 100 times before. But when she said it this time, the line behind Ethan went silent for half a second. Then the whispers began. Did you hear that? Man's broke again. Guess he's skipping lunch. Again, someone laughed. Not loudly, just enough to sting. Ethan felt his face burn. His hands tightened around the plastic tray, even though there was nothing on it. He nodded quickly, muttered a quiet sorry, and stepped away before the cashier could say anything else. He placed the empty tray back where it belonged and walked toward the exit like nothing had happened. But everything had happened. Ethan hadn't eaten since yesterday morning. His stomach had been aching through algebra, growling during history, twisting itself into knots as lunchtime approached. He had hoped stupidly that maybe the system was wrong, that maybe a few dollars had appeared somehow. They never did. As he pushed through the cafeteria doors, he didn't see the older man mopping near the corner. He didn't notice the tired eyes that followed him, or the way those eyes narrowed with concern. That Ethan Walker had become very good at being invisible. At 16, he moved through the halls like a shadow. Head down, hoodie up, backpack straps clenched tight. He avoided eye contact, avoided attention, avoided anything that might make him stand out. At Westfield High, standing out could be dangerous if you didn't have the right clothes, the right friends, or the right last name. Ethan lived with his mother in a small apartment on the edge of town, the kind of place where the paint peeled in thin strips and the heater worked only when it felt like it. His mother, Linda Walker, worked 2 jobs: early mornings at a diner and late nights cleaning office buildings. She came home exhausted, her feet aching, her smile forced. Ethan never complained. He never told her he was hungry. He knew how hard she worked just to keep the lights on. His father had left years ago. No warning, no explanation. One day his things were gone, and that was that. After that, money became a constant worry, like a shadow hanging over everything. When lunch prices went up at school, Ethan stopped buying food. At first, he told himself it was temporary. He'd save up. Things would get better. But days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Hunger became normal. The ache in his stomach was just another thing to ignore. Like the jokes, the shoves in the hallway, the way people looked through him as if he didn't exist. The bullying started small. Forgot your lunch again? You on a diet or just broke? It escalated slowly, the way cruelty often does. A nudge here, a backpack knocked to the floor there. Laughter that followed him down the hall. The worst was Travis Cole, a football player who seemed to take personal pleasure in making Ethan's life miserable. One afternoon, Travis knocked Ethan's books out of his hands and grinned as they scattered across the floor. Careful, Walker, he said. Those books cost money. Or did you steal them too? The laughter echoed long after Ethan bent down to pick up his things. Teachers rarely saw it. Or maybe they did and chose not to. Either way, Ethan learned to endure it in silence, until the day his lunch card was declined. After leaving the cafeteria, Ethan sat on a bench near the lockers, pretending to scroll through his phone. His hands shook slightly, not from anger, but from hunger and shame. He waited for the lunch period to end so he could go to the library, his usual refuge. That was when a quiet voice spoke beside him. Son, you dropped something. Ethan looked up, startled. Standing there was the janitor, an older man with silver hair, a lined face, and a mop leaning against his leg. Ethan had seen him around plenty of times, pushing his cart through the halls, emptying trash cans, wiping down floors. He had never spoken to him before. "I didn't drop anything," Ethan said, confused. The man smiled gently and opened his hand. Inside were a few folded dollar bills. "Lunch money," the man said. "Happens to the best of us." Ethan's first instinct was to refuse. I can't take that," he said quickly. "It's okay, really." The janitor's smile didn't fade. "You're not taking charity," he said softly. "You're helping an old man who bought too many snacks this week." Ethan hesitated. His stomach twisted painfully, as if reminding him how badly he needed the food. Finally, he nodded. Double quotes, "Thank you," he whispered. The man patted his shoulder. "Name's Raymond Carter," he said. "Now go eat before they close the line." That day, Ethan ate a full meal. It wasn't fancy pizza, an apple, a carton of milk, but it felt like a feast. He ate slowly, savoring every bite, afraid it might be the last for a while. The next day, it happened again. Ethan reached the cafeteria line, heart pounding. Before he could even pull out his card, he felt something brush his hand. A folded bill. He turned and saw Mr. Carter passing by, pushing his cart, acting like nothing unusual had happened. No one noticed. And that's how it continued. Some days Mr. Carter would casually leave money on the bench where Ethan sat. Other days he'd murmur, "Cafeteria owes me," or "I'm cutting back anyway." He never made Ethan feel small. Never asked questions. Never told anyone else. Ethan never stopped saying thank you. With food in his stomach, things slowly began to change. He could concentrate in class. His grades improved. Teachers started noticing him for the first time, not as a problem, but as a quiet, capable student. He began staying after school in the library, partly to avoid the bullies, partly because it felt safe. Mr. Carter noticed all of it. He watched Ethan from a distance, pride softening his tired eyes. He saw the way the boy carried himself a little straighter now, the way his eyes no longer looked so hollow. One afternoon, Ethan stayed late studying in an empty classroom. Mr. Carter came in to clean, pushing his mop across the floor. This time, they talked. Really talked. Mr. Carter told Ethan about his life, about growing up poor, about dropping out of school to support his younger siblings, about dreams he once had of becoming an engineer, dreams that life slowly pushed aside. "Life doesn't always go the way you plan," Mr. Carter said, leaning on his mop. "But kindness? That's something you can always choose." Ethan listened as if every word mattered. Because it did. Senior year arrived faster than Ethan expected. He graduated with honors, a scholarship letter folded carefully in his pocket. He searched the crowd for Mr. Carter during the ceremony, but he wasn't there. Afterward, Ethan went looking for him. The custodian's closet was empty. Later, the principal told him Mr. Carter had retired early due to health issues. No forwarding address. No phone number. Ethan never got to say goodbye. Life moved on. College was hard, but Ethan worked harder. He remembered every lunch, every quiet act of kindness, every moment someone believed in him when no one else did. He carried those memories with him like a compass. Years passed. 15 years later, Ethan Walker stood in a glass office building in Austin, Texas, wearing a tailored suit. He was no longer the hungry boy in the corner of the cafeteria. He was the founder and CEO of a thriving tech company. Success brought money, recognition, comfort. But it never erased the past. One evening, alone in his office, Ethan found himself thinking about Mr. Carter, about the janitor who paid for his lunches, about the man who saw him when the world looked away. Ethan realized something then. Those lunches had done more than fill his stomach. They had kept him going when giving up would have been easier. So he searched. It took time. Phone calls, old records, but eventually he found an address. A small house in a quiet neighborhood, paint peeling, lawn overgrown. Ethan knocked. An older, frailer man opened the door. His hair was thinner now, his back slightly bent, but his eyes were the same. "Mr. Carter?" Ethan asked. The man stared for a moment, then smiled slowly. "Ethan?" he said, voice trembling. They hugged, both of them crying. Inside, at the small kitchen table, Ethan slid an envelope across to him. Inside was a deed to the house paid off. A monthly stipend. Full medical coverage. Mr. Carter's hands shook as he looked at it. "Why?" he asked quietly. Ethan smiled through tears. "Because you fed a hungry kid," he said, "and you changed his life." Mr. Carter lived the rest of his years in comfort and dignity. Ethan went on to quietly fund school, lunch programs across Texas. No cameras, no speeches, just help where it was needed. Because he knew the truth. A small act of kindness can shape a destiny, and sometimes the person mopping the floor is building a future one lunch at a time. Asterisk, asterisk, if you're a good personality, then subscribe, like my channel, and comment below about story.